I said, 30,000 shots. The record at the time was 24,696. So if you read the press release that I wrote before the actual press release, the only thing different in the press release was the exact number of shots, was 25,944. That was the only thing different. Everything else came true. Everything else was the same. So what I did was I wrote the press release about a week before, and then I read it every day until I believed it. I read it every single day until I believed it. What you want to do, I'll write the story. You can tweak it if you want to make it more about you. And you want to reread it. You want to reread it so you believe it. Because then if you go in there and you can envision you being successful there, then it's achievable. It's tangible. It becomes more real. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So now we're going to go into some specific tactics of how we can become successful. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to be solid. And solid is doable. Let's see. You can open the door a little if you want. It's fine.
April, would you mind giving me my purse from outside? I'm sorry. Is this going on an official platform somewhere?
No, just you guys.
Just don't be silly.
And now let the whore inside. We'll send it to your husband if you
Mama's got a new too. Oh my gosh.
There's gonna be some beeps in your video.
I know. She's like, it's on the cloud. What's a cloud?
Okay.
Better be. Is that better?
Doors
Oh, yeah. I felt like there's no.
So,
Thank you.
You should do fine in Florida.
It's a lot of stinky lunch. What'd you do?
I know my hummus problem.
Good thinking out.
okay. So you've seen this before. You may have seen it. I sent a screenshot before sectionals. But now we're getting to more of the mental tactics of how to play. You've started the match. You've already dealt with your fear of losing. You've compartmentalized your fear of losing. You're not going to bring it to nationals, but you've dealt with it. Now you have your press release that you've read and reread, and now you can see the result. You can see the finish line. Now how are we going to get from the first match to the finish line? Okay, so you're going in with your game plan. You're going to go into the match with whatever game plan you have. And you're going to play the match. And the first thing I'll say is, you know more about your game than the people down there. For the most part, I think you're not going to play someone that you've played against before. Okay? So in the warm-up, you are not warming up. I expect you to find a wall, hit against a wall, reserve a court on your own, do the warm-up before the warm-up, because the warm-up is not a warm-up. The warm-up is going to be to check out your opponent's weaknesses. You want to figure out what they're good at and what they're not good at, with the key being honing in on what they're not good at. Now, some people, if they're not good at overheads, won't ask you for a lob. You're going to give them a lob, whether they want to or not, in warm-up. You're going to give them a volley, whether they want to or not. You're going to give them a drop shot, they come in, you hit them, you want to see a little bit of all of their shots. The nice thing about that also, the other benefit, it takes a little bit of the pressure off. It makes you less nervous because you have a specific task, which you're looking for these things. You're not getting self-conscious of, I'm not hitting my forehand today, on my backhand, what's going on? All of a sudden you're not thinking about that. You're just letting that happen, and you're really looking at data that's really important. What are their strengths and weaknesses? Then, what I want you to do after the warm-up, go to your partner if you're playing doubles, or remind yourself if you're playing singles. You're going to say, this is what I noticed. Every time I hit it to her backhand, she ran around and she hit a forehand. She must have a weak backhand. Or every time I lobbed it, she moved back and let it bounce. Whatever it is, You're gonna identify what that is and you're gonna communicate that to your partner because it'll solidify it for yourself and it'll help educate your partner. Okay, now the beginning of the match. You have to exercise what I call the Elvis principle. And when I was training for our rally, 3 months in advance, I knew there was going to be people going in and out in the window, and there was going to be paramedics, there was going to be news crews and things, which there were. I knew there were going to be distractions. So rather than be surprised that there was a distraction, I accepted the fact that there was going to be a distraction. So for me, if Elvis walked into the building, that would be pretty startling. But what I said to myself was, I trained for this. I was like, if Elvis walks in the building and I catch him in my peripheral vision, I'm going to say, oh, that's nice. There's Elvis. Stay focused.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
And so you embrace that. I'm telling you, if he walked in the building, I wouldn't have been surprised and I would have kept going and it wouldn't have derailed me from my goal. So what you want to do is, there's going to be those moments, those Elvis moments. There's going to be a car crash right next to the courts. Expect it. Put it aside. It's preventing you from your goal if you give it any attention. So you're going to accept it enough in your periphery to be aware of it, to know that you got to focus on something else. Does that make sense? So exercise the Elvis principle as far as your focus and as far as embracing distractions. Expect they're going to happen. Nothing is going to surprise you. With your doubles partner, if something happens, tell your doubles partner, let's ignore it. Let's stay focused to our goal. Do the best you can do. So for example, if there's an atrocious line call, a really bad line call, the only thing you can do is question the call in a polite way, in a sportsmanship manner with no tone. That's all you can do. So that's all we expect you to do. Question the call, accept it, move on. Don't let one bad call be 10 bad calls in your mind. Let it be what it is. And do the best you can to then go over it. That you can't control. You cannot control their line calls. You can control how you respond to them, but you can't control their line calls. Nerves. So we talked about the Elvis principle. We talked about when there's distractions. Everyone is going to be nervous the first couple of games. It's going to happen because it's important to you. Matter of fact, a little bit of nerves are good because they get you to play your best tennis. So you want your nerves to enable you, not disable you. So the best way to handle nerves is working on your breathing. So there's 2 ways to breathe. I mean, not breathing, that's not good. But breathing is either in through your nose and out through your mouth, or in through your mouth, out through your nose. But the trick I found is the out has to be slow, long, and deliberate. So what I found when I'm nervous, not when I'm breathing normally, but when I'm nervous, I find that if I breathe in through my mouth and then out through my nose as slowly as I can. So let's try it. In through our mouth, then out through our nose. Keep going. At the very end, you feel calm because you've exhaled all the carbon dioxide, right? And you inhale a lot of oxygen, but the exhale happens over a long period of time. So whether you do that or whether you do what Djokovic does, was this, but the out has to be slow and deliberate when you go out through your mouth. It can't be hyperventilating, because hyperventilating is, and that's how you get nervous, and then your diaphragm moves up, and it makes it even worse. So the exhale on your breathing is really important. So work on that before nationals. In through your mouth, out through your nose slowly, or if you prefer, in through your nose, out through your mouth. But the trick is with the mouth, you can exhale too quickly. You got to exhale slowly. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we're into the thick of things. We're into the match. We've dealt with our nerves, and we're playing our game. We're playing our game. And it is going our way. So we build a 4-1 lead. We build a 4-1 lead. Okay? So we build a 4-1 lead. I put that as red light. And the reason why I put that as red light, it's not like an easy shot, but when you're winning, you're up 4-1. What do you have to lose when you're winning? What do you have to lose? The lead. You have something to lose. You have the lead to lose. The misconception is when you're leading that you have nothing to lose. That's not true. You have the lead to lose. So, there's a difference between playing safe and cautious, which is what you don't want to do, and playing consistent and smart, and that's what you do want to do. You want to play consistent and smart. So, 3 feet inside the lines for every shot. 3 feet inside the lines for your shot. Your serve not on the line, inside the line. Expect the points to go 1 or 2 shots longer, which means you need to increase your patience. But when you have a lead, this is what you want to do. And if I slide down, I call the 3 C's your strategy. So your strategy becomes consistent now, but within your own playing style. So you're ahead, you're going to play consistent within your own playing style. You're going to get it in. You're going to, you're going to play steady. You're going to counter strike, so they strike, you're going to see what they're doing, and then you're going to counter strike. You're going to play percentage tennis. You're going to do the basics well, nothing flashy, and you're going to stick to your game plan.
You're sending this to us, right?
I can.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send this link. So, and I sent you a picture of this in the email for sectionals, is stick to your game plan. Now this might be counterintuitive, but I find that it works from players that I coach to myself. So you build a lead, and that's not 2-1. 2-1 is not red, 2-1 is yellow now. So 2-1, 1-1, 5-4, 4-4, 6-6 tiebreak. You're going to play cunning. You're going to outsmart them. You're going to grind it out. Expect the points to be longer. You're going to play smart. I call it smart strike. That's your S, your style. The 3 G's, your tactics, is tweak your game plan, play better, play patterns. Think a few shots ahead. That's what you're going to do when you're even. When you're even, what's really important is you go back to what we were talking about earlier, which is in the warm-up, what you noticed about their weakness. Are you playing their weakness when you're even? Because if you're not, you need to. If you're not doing that, you need to. So when you're even with them, ask yourself, did we just hit the ball to their weakness? Are we making them win with their weakness? That's the best you can do at that moment. And then when you're behind, so now you're behind 3-0, you're behind 4-1. This is when you have to be courageous. This is what separates the good players from the great players. You have the match to lose. You're down 4-1, but you want to change your strategy. You want to change it. So here, for the most part, everything being equal, you want to take risks. You want to be bold, be brave, go for it. Play your best tennis. Allow yourself to play your best tennis. Because if you're not going to play your best tennis when you're down, you may never see your best tennis at nationals. I'm not saying get down on purpose so then all of a sudden show yourself your best tennis. Because if you play your best tennis from the beginning, you probably won't be behind. But everybody has off games, everybody has off days. That is okay. But what you want to do is recognize that something is not working and then change it for the better by going for it. So there was a famous point, Djokovic was playing Federer at the US Open. This was like the first time he beat him at the US Open. I think it was in the finals. And he was down, and Federer was up 40-15 match point. So Federer serves a pretty safe serve out wide. Djokovic didn't care anymore, and he rips a forehand return winner. And kind of goes like this to the crowd, and the crowd starts to laugh, and he really got himself in the match. But basically, he went for it. He's like, you know what? I'm going to lose anyways. I'm double match point against Federer. just gonna go for my shots. So sure enough, that took the pressure off him. He went for his forehand, he hit a winner. Second one, Federer served and volleyed. I wouldn't have necessarily served and volleyed on that, but he served and volleyed. Djokovic hit a tough return to his feet. Federer misses the volley. It's deuce. Now the pressure's really off Djokovic. Djokovic goes on to win the match. And if he did not have the mentality of going for it when he was down, if he put a safe return into the court, he would have lost the match. So the thing is, what you want to do is when you're behind, go for it. It's okay. Tell yourself, hey, if we don't change something, we're going to lose anyways. So might as well go for it. It's not working. Whatever we're doing is not working. So with that said, this is a mindset of what to do when you're behind, when you're even, and when you're ahead. Now again, all of this goes within your playing style. So if you are a risk taker anyways, then when you're behind, you're going to take a little more risk. And when you're ahead, you're going to be more consistent or take a little less risk. But you're still going to play within your own personality. You're still going to do what you do, but just change it slightly based on what the score is. So does that make sense? And any questions on that? Okay, so always, play freely. Just play. Let it happen. Show your best tennis. Play for joy. Be happy. Think positive. Let it happen. Have fun. Focus on the process, but value the outcome. And above all, control the controllables, which you listed here. If you can identify what are controllables, and then focus on these, and these go within the Elvis principle. You're going to accept these, but you're not going to dwell on them. You can't control these, so you're just going to accept them and move on. And these, you're going to try to control the best you can. That's all you can do. And then never worry about the uncontrollables. You're never going to worry about these. And I wouldn't even worry about these. Just know what they are, and then make a conscious effort to be in a good mood and have a good attitude, to never give up on a shot, run down every ball. Communication, where's communication? Support your partner, support yourself. Speak nicely to yourself in your own mind. This is what you want to focus on, and then not this. Going back to, we talked about the fear of losing. So Michael Jordan, he's arguably one of the best NBA basketball players of all time. He missed more than 9,000 shots. And something like 26 times the game came down to his final shot and he missed it and he lost the game for his team. But he has become the best basketball player of all time. And he attributes that to he has failed more than anyone else. Now I'm not saying you have to fail that much, but we failed enough now going into nationals that we've put ourselves in a position to win. So how are you going to bring it over the finish line? There's going to be a moment in the match where whoever wants it more is going to be victorious. There's going to be a moment. It could be in the first game. It could be in the tiebreak in the first set. It could be in the second set to bring it to a third set if you lost the first. It could be the final point of the match. But there's going to be a moment where you're going to have to dig down deep. You're going to have to run down a ball that you've never run down before. You're going to have to hit a really good second serve. You're going to have to talk to your partner and get them on track. You're going to have to get yourself on track if you're playing singles, whatever it is. There's going to be a moment. And I want you to expect that moment. And at that moment, you're going to play your best tennis. Just going to let it happen. You've done it before. Just allow it to come out and happen rather than making it happen. And there's a big difference. There's a big difference between just letting it happen and making it happen. And those moments, those are the exciting ones. It could go either way. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. That's what makes competition so much fun. But with all of that said, you want to go in saying to yourself, I'm not afraid of losing. I'm not afraid of winning. I'm not afraid of my opponents. And I'm not afraid of myself. That's what you want to go in. It's like, everything is gonna be okay, no matter what the result is. So might as well try hard. Because if you try hard and you leave everything on the court, you're gonna have no regrets later. But if you leave something in the tank, you don't give your best effort, you come there with a bad attitude, or you're afraid, or you're paralyzed by nerves, then you're gonna have a regret after. And it won't necessarily be because of the result. So again, let's remove the result from the process and really focus on the process. Because if you do the process correctly, if you do it within your control, if you control these, then you will most likely get the result that you want. And guess what? If they're too good, if they're hitting aces left and right and big forehands and returns, well then that's okay. Then you lost to a really good team, and that is okay. But don't lose to yourself. Play your best tennis. Any questions so far?
Have you done any statistics on what team, what section has come in and won consistently year after year? I did a little research and I know that 2016 and 2017 was won by Midwest.
Okay.
Mid-Atlantic was coming in second both times. So is there anything that you know, is there anything that I can research? Like, actually it was Ohio. This one team from Ohio.
We've got Ohio.
We've got Ohio, we've got Indiana, we've got Texas, we've got it all covered. Is there any statistics that we can kind of study, or would that even help? Or is it just me putting my mental energy towards something to get work through my nerves?
So I would say I haven't in the past done statistics. I only know from going to nationals myself as a player and coaching in nationals that most of the teams that did well had large sections. So they had a larger pool of players, and for the most part, like a 2-5 player in Southern Cal might be different than a 2-5 player from Connecticut. It's all relative.
Yeah.
So that goes to your own tennis personality. So what I would say is, if that data empowers you to play your best tennis, then you go for it.
Okay, all right.
But if that data would paralyze you too much, I would say be aware in your periphery, but then say, I'm gonna have to play my best tennis.
None of it matters once I get on
Yeah.
the court.
Yes.
I feel like I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
keep myself mentally engaged.
So I would
Because I'm doing
say
everything physically, I can think of. It's like-
a good benchmark would be for all of you that when you're playing singles, the singles players, or when you're playing doubles, you have to beat the best player at the best team at sectionals.
Okay.
If you play whatever level, districts or sectionals, okay, so districts, play against the best team, the number